It'd be cool if they had like a Zoom bathroom that we could have at the thing, just to kind of like, hey, can I borrow something? That'd be dope.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jared Hall, Entertainment Weekly Senior TV Editor. As part of EW's awardist coverage of the Emmys, we've gathered several of this year's nominees, and they're not just any nominees, but the hyphenates, the multiverse, if you will. They all have at least 2 nominations. So here we go. Up first, Angela Bassett, who's nominated for Guest Actress in a Comedy for A Black Lady Sketch Show, and Outstanding Narrator for the fascinating Disney Plus docuseries The Imagineering Story. Dan Levy scored 4 nominations for Writing, Directing, Supporting Actor, and as producer of Schitt's Creek. Giancarlo Esposito is nominated for his guest appearance in the drama The Mandalorian, and also for supporting actor in a drama for his performance as the iconic Gus Fring on Better Call Saul. Maya Rudolph has a trio of nominations: voiceover performance on the Netflix animated series Big Mouth, and she's competing against herself and some of our other guests here as guest actress in a comedy for both The Good Place and for playing Senator Kamala Harris on Saturday Night Live. Ramy Youssef is also a 2-for-1 for directing his Hulu series, Ramy, and the other for his lead actor work on that comedy. And last, alphabetically by first name, but certainly not least, Wanda Sykes is also a nominee for voiceover performance for her work on the revived Crank Yankers and as a guest actress in a comedy for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, man.
Great to see all of you. Well, Wanda, since I mentioned you last, I'm going to start with you. These are your 12th and 13th career Primetime Emmy nominations. Your first was back in 1998 for writing on The Chris Rock Show. So I'll pose this to you first, but I, of course, want to get thoughts from the rest of you here as well. We are certainly in uncharted territory this year. So how are you feeling about a virtual Emmys telecast?
I'm thrilled I don't have to get dressed up. Are you kidding?
Exactly.
We don't have to get dressed up.
Well, you know what? You're right.
I have happy feet right now.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited that I can just have to be from here up, you know. They're comfortable, and I'm really.
If you win, will someone knock on your door?
Oh God!
And if you win it, you get knocked on your door.
As long as they're wearing a mask.
That's what I'm wondering too. How much have you guys been told?
Publishers clearinghouse thing.
Yeah. What do we know about how the ceremony will work?
With a big check.
Yeah.
Publishers clearinghouse style. Yeah.
I've heard absolutely nothing. Has anyone else heard anything?
I have heard nothing.
It's amazing. It's so dope.
I think, do you think it will be added pressure on Jimmy Kimmel as host this year? Like, do you feel like he's going to have to do more to make this special?
Absolutely.
That's going to be a tough room.
Yeah.
Certainly.
He's looking for, if he needs feedback, some positive reinforcement.
It's a timing thing too. I feel like he's working with like weird lags and feedback, and so the timing of everything is kind of an obstacle in and of itself.
Yeah.
It is, but I think if anyone can do it, it's Jimmy. He has that personality to bring people together. And I think it's one thing I'm happy about is I have a really huge family. And of course, I have 4 daughters and other folks who represent us. And it would be wonderful to have a party where we could all be together and be in a more relaxed fashion. And so that I'm very excited about. It allows us to have a more home feeling. I think it's going to be an interesting year, but I think we're all looking to make it fun.
Yeah.
It's also kind of nicer if you lose because all you have to do is just log out.
Right.
Just like,
Exactly.
I'm just like, out of this shit. I don't need to do it. Easier. That's way easier than having to like walk around.
Oh
and,
my gosh.
Hey, congrats, man. That's really dope. Like you just shut
Yeah.
the
Right.
computer.
With the camera in your
It's
face.
amazing.
Yeah. By the end of the night, it's just like empty black squares on a virtual frame.
Yeah. Just have your
Imagine.
snacks,
Yeah.
You win, you're really in the restroom, you're really at the in the refrigerator. Just you're supposed to be. Don't be too laxed. Laying on the couch. Hey.
Yeah.
The one thing I will miss is it's such a great
Might be
opportunity
cute.
to see all of your peers and friends and folks that you've worked with. And that I will miss. I don't know I'm hoping that in some way they have the ability to sort of put people up so we can see each other, because not only are some of our friends in the same categories nominated with us and you're wishing them the best, but you get a chance to sort of be with folks that you haven't seen in a long time, and it's always fun to do that. So I'm hoping there's some way they can figure that out.
That is
virtually.
fun. When you're at an awards show, you like run into someone you love, like at the bathroom. It'd be cool if they had like a Zoom bathroom that we could have at the thing, just to kind of like, hey, can I borrow something? That'd be dope.
Yeah.
A Zoom bar, going to get your glass of
bar,
champagne,
yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. Dan, your show, I have been trying to research this and can't find the answer. So I'm going to say that we're correct in saying that your show has achieved a rare, if never done feat, getting all 7 nominations in all of the top 7 categories: series, directing, writing, and the lead and supporting categories. Will all of you try to get together on Emmys night to kind of collectively celebrate?
I mean, yeah, I've been saying that it couldn't be more on brand for our show. That we have this
Just get together in a small hotel room. Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing because our hair and makeup departments and our costume departments, all of these incredible Canadians that were working up here on our show finally get to go, and now we can't. So I've been sort of joking that it was almost as if I've written myself to like kind of be on brand with how our show would handle something like this. But I know that my dad is hoping to hopefully put up a little tent in our backyard and we can have some people over. We're up in Canada right now, and maybe put up a screen and people can dress up if they want, and we can kind of do our own thing up here. But it's I mean, that was kind of the bittersweet thing. I think when you have you love your team, and when your team gets recognized, watching your team members all dressed up and going together, that's kind of what makes it so special. It's not even really the win, it's just the experience of being there with people that you've worked so hard with, and getting to see them excited. So, we'll make our own fun.
Yeah, certainly a lot of hard work by a lot of people, and that's why we love to celebrate art and have this night. You wore many hats on Schitt's Creek, as I mentioned, and rightfully honored for all that great work. Is there one of the nominations in particular that you were surprised by, or that carries any extra emotional weight than the others?
Well, I mean, I think as a showrunner, I think when your show gets recognized, that's kind of the greatest gift you can get, because it really encompasses everybody. And each of those departments and each of those people are so valuable to the success of the final product, that I think to have a nomination in a best series category is such a vote of confidence, not just for the actors, but also for the entire crew who worked so kind of tirelessly to get us there. So I would say that probably is the most kind of significant for me, just because I feel like it's really everyone's nomination.
Ramy, you won the Golden Globe earlier this year. There was a very, I think, genuine and sincere look of shock on your face. And, we say, of course, awards aren't the goal, but what has this ride been like for you with this show, your baby, your creation?
I think there's like 500 or 600 shows on TV every year. So for a show like ours, it's like the only ad you could really get for people to watch it. We had like a really small show that is story driven. It's about an Arab Muslim family. It's very focused. We don't have celebs, none of that stuff going into this. And so to be able to get recognized like that, it's so exciting to just get people to even tune in. But then it also, again, for the size to scale, to me being able to even be on like a Zoom like this with everyone here who I respect so much, it really excites me for networks to make shows around people who they might have thought were a gamble before, who didn't have a foothold, but it kind of shows, no, you can make a show that then becomes that foothold and becomes the thing that everyone's trying to get. So it's really exciting.
Well, for the rest of you, as you're hearing their stories, knowing how much work they're putting in, is there appeal to you in creating your own scripted shows like Dan and Ramy, and having a hand in various or all aspects of its life? Giancarlo, Maya, Angela, Wanda, do you have similar aspirations, or are you just happy to show up as a performer?
No, I love performing, but I'm a director as well and also a producer. And and Ramy, I have to say, when you're doing something that comes from your heart specifically and totally engulfs and it encompasses your passion, your show is fresh. It's new, it's different, it's fresh. And we don't want to keep seeing retreads. We want to be able to express ourselves in a way that's organic and true to us inside. And equally so with you, Dan. So when you bring something so fresh to television, you get people's attention. And it becomes really about what the material is and what your experience has been to express that. And so, yeah, I'm inspired by Dan and by Ramy, because I feel like, oh, okay, those fresh ideas I had 20 years ago that I put in my pocket and I just hustled to be an actor are all coming back to me. And you take a chance on you. You take a chance on that because you feel the fresh breeze of something new. And that, to me, I give such honorable credit to that, because you're expressing your being.
Biden chose Kamala.
All
He did?
right.
Oh,
He chose
Yeah, he
Kamala?
chose Kamala.
Did that just come through? You guys,
Yes.
this could literally not be a more perfect timing, because
That's
I was
heard.
literally segueing into Maya next with a
Whoa.
question.
oh, shit.
So let me go there then.
Somebody's going
one
to
of
be
your
very busy
yeah,
now.
Wow.
yes, well, one of your three
Ruh-roh.
nominations is for playing Senator Harris on SNL. Are you excited at the thought of returning and having more guest appearances as a potential VP Kamala Harris?
I love going to the show. Any excuse I can get, I love. I just didn't really anticipate traveling during a pandemic. But if there's anyone that can work it out, I'm sure Lauren has some sort of invisible helicopter that can get me there. I mean, ever since I was a kid, truly, I wanted to be on any sort of SCTV, Saturday Night Live, and I can't believe that I got to work there, and I can't believe that it's my family still. So I'm so thrilled to even be associated with the show, and that I got to go back. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, and honestly, like, it's my favorite place to play. But I'm as surprised as you are, guys. That's
big.
spicy.
That's big.
Spicy one.
You do live in Los Angeles, correct,
I
Maya?
do, yeah.
Yeah,
I left
so of
the
course-
show to have my kids,
So you made that trek to kind of be on the air for a 5-minute or so sketch. So does the nomination really makes it worth it, or was the value already there?
The value was already there. Honestly, I brought my 14-year-old daughter with me, and it was so sweet and delicious to, like, show her around, because she hadn't been there since she was about 1. And just, all the crew that are still there are my family. And it just makes me feel so good, to show her that place that's steeped in tradition, and a lot of the same people that have been there for 40 years plus. But yeah, any excuse to go to New York is great. I don't know that I'm ready to go right this minute.
Have a couple months, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so nice to have this nomination be associated with the show, because it's my true love, honestly.
On the flip side, your other 2 nominations are in the same category. Are you mad to be competing against yourself? Is Maya Rudolph tough competition for Maya Rudolph?
We are not speaking. There's a real brawl going on here. It's like when Muhammad Ali is like, doing those press conferences, and he's like, yeah, it's ugly here. It's really ugly.
Yeah, terse words, I'm sure. Giancarlo, you have a history of playing and doing it so well. These characters who often enter the picture in mysterious circumstances or some ambiguity for the audience. They aren't quite sure whose side you're on. So what gets you most excited about roles like that? And I imagine they happen more in TV than movies, because there's more of an opportunity to kind of peel back the layers over time.
Well, what gets me most excited is that I have less to work with, and especially in Better Call Saul, playing Gustavo Fring and reprising my role there. I have to give you clues through my physical language, and it feels very much like theater to me, because I have to come into the scene full. And for me, the hints I give are physical. They're with my eyes. They're few words, and that's always a very interesting investigation for me. That there's less said and more seen. And I really love that because it allows me to create a full character coming in to any particular episode and thinking things unknown that you don't know. And so it allows me a way to surprise myself and always be spontaneous and in the moment.
Angela, I have a very important question for you. What makes Angela Bassett the baddest bitch? That episode of a Black Lady Sketch Show, it's so opposite really of what we're used to seeing from you as a queen of drama. So tell me about this experience and that episode.
I was so thrilled when I get a chance to play in the comedic realm. You know, the year before maybe Master of None, and of course for a couple of years you just, you know, art performances in American Horror Story. But this was really very different, and to get that call, and I love those ladies. I love their work. I'm a fan, and I've always enjoyed meeting and working with new fresh talent. As Mr. Esposito
how could you say no? Your name was in
talent.
the episode title. How could you say no?
It came later. That wasn't it. That wasn't the. I don't think that was the initial. It was just the bad bitch support group. So that was enough to get me. That was enough to get me. That extra was real sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to get a nomination, outstanding.
So do opportunities like this, does it make you want to do more comedy? Is it really like, you know, piquing your interest in that area more?
You know, I'm just interested in doing just an array of things, you know, of course, being on a show, you know, on a series, sometimes you feel like you're in that 9 to 5 and, you know, so you're always trying to find, delve into the character and expand them bit by bit. So anytime I get an ask, sometimes I have to turn down stuff, which is, you know, sometimes, you know, heartbreaking, but anytime there's free time, I love to go and play on other playgrounds with other folks.
Yeah. On that same topic, for the rest of you, your nominations this year, or any year really, or work you've done, has it opened up doors for you in genres where you weren't previously working?
I go where I want, where it calls to me, and that's the place I want to be. And so if that's comedy or if that's drama or whatever it is, you know, you always get those questions later, like, what was it like to get out of that box forever? But like, you're always the same person that's looking for that thing that calls to you. And it depends on how you're feeling or what you're in the mood for, or how you're growing as a human. And so I agree with what she's talking about. I feel like that's the place I always want to be, is going where it feels best.
I'm so jealous of all of you who are in comedies, because that's where I'd like to go and experience that feeling. Because in off hours, the truth be told, I'm lighter than what people know me as. And I don't want to prove that. I want to do comedy because I'm actually quite fun after 6 p.m. You know, and I really am. And I kind of lose my brain and I become this light person. And so,
yes,
you know, we perform because we are enthused by it and get filled up by it, but who wants to do the same thing all the time?
Exactly.
You know, so it's always a wonder, to be in wonder and enchantment of what we do. I think we have a group here who's exactly in that place. I would do anything to be able to experience the true juice of being able to have fun, yet move people, whether it be comedy, drama, or otherwise.
You're here.
Dan, are you itching to do a drama?
Yeah, I mean, I think coming off of our show ended this year, and I think because our show is funny, but it does have its kind of sentimental moments, and there are really kind of important conversations that are being had in it. I think people are taking me a little more seriously, obviously, than before. But even when writing the show, I mean, my dad and I really approached it as a drama that just happens to involve very funny people reacting to a really tragic situation. So in going out there and trying to develop other things, I've really tried to have conversations with people when I'm walking into rooms and say, like, listen, if you have an idea, it's the story. At the end of the day, it's the story. If you have a great, compelling story, that's the most important thing. I'm not tied to comedy. You know, I would love to explore drama. I would love to explore, you know, musicals and everything in between. It really just comes down to the idea. And does the idea have legs? Is it compelling? Will it be challenging for the actors that are a part of it? that I think is the through line through all of this. And it's always kind of remarkable to me to have certain conversations where people don't see that, where it's kind of, you're defined by genre versus what you're actually bringing to the table.
And your dad, of course, we should mention the wonderful Eugene Levy, who's also a double nominee this year. Wanda, I feel like, do you have perhaps have some perspective on that comedy, what he's talking about being as part of a specific genre and being able to branch out?
Yeah, I agree with what everyone has said. It's like what speaks to you, and if there's like something fulfilling in it, like why am I doing this role? Like sometimes you might read a script, you like, this is so basic. Like why, what am I going to get out of this, or what can I bring to it? What is it saying? But then again, if it's just freaking funny and you're just being silly, I'm down for that too. But it has to give something, and I got to get something from it. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to talk to Miss Bassett, because if Angela's gonna start doing comedy, that means
that means we're out of jobs.
I'm here to say we're done. I mean,
I thought I'd find myself on a sketch show.
I'm gonna go ahead and go to nursing school now. I mean,
you dad.
What the hell?
Let's do it together. Teach me some things.
Yeah, Wanda, on the topic of some of the great comedy you've done this year, Crank Yankers came back after 12 years off the air. That's a long hiatus, but this character Gladys is one you've voiced in the original run. Where does Wanda end and Gladys begin?
Oh wow, Wanda would never be in those situations that Gladys gets herself into. But if Wanda wasn't in those situations, she probably would react like Gladys. She'd make a few phone calls. She'd she want to talk to a manager.
Your other character, your other nomination, Mom's Mabley, and on an Amy Sherman Palladino and Dan Palladino series. So what did you love about getting to be her through the lens of the marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Well, Mom's is just huge for me. She's everything for me. And if I hadn't, seen Mom as a little girl, if I was a little girl sitting there watching Smothers Brothers, Ed Sullivan, whatever, and if I hadn't seen Mom's Mabley, I know I wouldn't be here doing this today. She definitely was so influential, on me, and I think to a lot of female comics out there. But my mom said that I had been playing Mom since I was a little girl, because I would walk around the house, with like a dust cap on, and and I'm acting like no teeth, whatever. So it was just a dream come true for me to be able to not only play Moms, but to play her on the Apollo stage. Man, it was incredible. It really was.
Sounds like this was like kind of full life circle moment. Like you had been building up to this your whole life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's special. Just want to. There we got Ramy back. All right, welcome back. Hello.
I just said like 30 minutes about you, Ramy, how much I love you. You just bailed on me, man.
I was laughing at you guys taking forever to set up the thing, and then I'm the one that got disconnected. I'm like, look at all these people figuring out how to
Please go ahead.
I thought you were doing the Emmy. I thought you were doing the Emmy blackout.
Oh yeah.
That's what I thought. Oh, he's gone. That's it. We'll see him again.
That's good comedy. Coming back to the joke right there, making that work. Maya, this is your third year in a row being nominated for playing the judge on The Good Place. So what did you love about this character, and more so Mike Schur's vision of dying?
I knew I'd love it already, because I met Mike right when he was fresh out of college. He was a writer at Saturday Night Live, and so I feel like I watched him grow up. Mm-hmm. He called me and he said that he had this thing for me to do, and I already knew that meant that this was something that had a little of that goofy love thing written in it. When people really know you well, they write stuff so that that you can mess with, and that's our history, is messing with each other and making each other laugh and stuff. So I knew that it was an exciting moment to get to have a lot of opinions about the state of the world at the moment. And if it was going to be me making statements about the state of the world, then it was probably going to be pretty funny because look at me. I just think that says a lot, in a wonderful way. And knowing that language already and knowing each other well, it just allowed me to sort of just jump into the show instantly and connect to it. And I'm a personal fan of talking about the afterlife. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the idea that there's more to come and things we might be able to do again and get right and see again and change and futz with. And it's just, the whole thing is really exciting. His vision just gives this sort of great breadth and levity to something that is just this overwhelming existential idea. And no one has an answer, which is why it's so wonderful to play with.
For all of you who've done voiceover work, I'm curious because we do have some voice nominees here, and Angela for narrating. What is the great appeal there? Of course, you don't have to do hair and makeup and all of that, but for many people who I've spoken with, they see it actually presents bigger challenges than showing up on set and being in front of camera. Do the rest of you find that to be true?
Find that definitely to be true. It's, you're so used to emoting and having the visual, in your back pocket to help sell the story. A lot of times they tell I'm asked to maybe pull back, on the emotion or the drama and just the facts, ma'am, to, make it just a little more dry so that the ear can hear as the eyes are watching the visual. And then sometimes they ask for the other things. So I can never tell what it's going to be like in the room, but you only have the words, and that's what you feel in the booth. You only have the words, and you don't have anything else about yourself to distract or to help, to aid. And it's not easy for me to get, because sometimes this Southern tongue, trips up, or you think faster than you can speak, or they want you to speak faster. So, but sometimes it comes to me, and I'm always, up for that.
I was so soothed by your voice in that documentary. I was so calmed and soothed and embraced by your voice. And I just kept thinking, I'm like, we need to get Angela Bassett on the Calm app. I want her talking to sleep every night. I need to just fall asleep to the warm embrace of Angela Bassett's voice.
I do that for you, darling.
Yeah, I find that the voiceover work, it is hard because those directors, they don't give a damn about your feelings. They don't care. They will tell you when something stinks. And they're very clear, very, as far as what they want and what they need, as far as what they
and sometimes they don't know what they want, and they can get so many versions of what they might want,
right?
In 2 minutes that, they can get every note on the scale, 66 different versions, and sometimes they want all those options, and as a performer, you're like, didn't you love this? That wasn't good enough? That wasn't good for you?
You have to just put your feelings aside and go, okay, this is what it is,
There is an element of freedom too, and the other side of it is that it certainly gives you the opportunity to be anything as opposed to anyone. And in that respect, I really do dig into the joy of that, that I can be things that I don't look like. And I can be animals or monsters or really tall and thin with a flat chest and all these wonderful things that I think about. And, honestly, that freedom is an exciting place to play that you really don't always have on camera. It certainly refreshed me and gives me a different kind of joy when it's working right, and yeah, there's definitely those moments where I'm like, dude, I gave you everything I got. I don't obviously want somebody else, but when it works and when you've created something that is fun and then you can really live in it. And I love being able to to just not be a lady sometimes. It feels it's fun. It's really fun.
For those of you who are also directors, Ramy, I'll pose this to you first. What did directing teach you about acting and vice versa?
Yeah, I learned so much from directing, but also just from even, and Dan, I'm sure you and anyone here who's kind of produced something as well, where when you're casting people, I just learned a lot about auditioning that I had never known about, even though I'd been doing it for a while. I mean, relative to my span doing it, but I was just like, whoa, it's a whole other thing. And then I wrote the second season different based on even just that experience and just the experience of like realizing what you actually need. And you start to realize just because something reads well on the page doesn't mean it's going to mean anything when people see it or when you try and act it out.
I hated table reads on our show.
We don't do them. Yeah, same. That's why I was just like, let's not do them.
Hated them. I think because so much of our show and so much of the tone of our show is in the physicality of the reactions and the physical reaction to situation, because so much of, you know, directing our show for me in those early days of, you know, seeing a rough cut is really going through and seeing what every other character is doing while the person is talking. And that's where I think, you know, you can find these funny little moments where someone's like either off in a daze or they're reacting in a way that's really kind of funny, that allows for a real sense of like cast chemistry. And that's where I think the humor, we were able to mine the most humor from our show. So the table reads for me were always like, oh, I don't wanna, but you could see weak points. You could see when story slows down. So it was helpful, obviously, but and then, you know, getting it on its feet, I think so much of, you know, the directing side of it was really just letting our actors play. I think for us, it was really about creating a space where people could feel free to really kind of make choices and not be bound by any kind of regulation. Obviously, you have to oversee the whole thing, but that freedom, and I think when you have Catherine O'Hara and my dad together working, it sets a tone for everybody else. And Catherine never had a single take. I mean, you could not bank on a single take that was like one another. Every single take was different. Every single take was a choice. Every single take was surprising. And I think we just ran with that because that's the most exciting, you know, that's the good stuff.
It is really cool to let actors be free. But then you also got to make lunch. Because I think that's the thing that like I think on a low budget show, you just become an accountant and you're like, well, do I want to take the penalty tonight or do I want to take it like on Thursday when I know we're going to be outside? That's the part of it that I never thought about. And I was like, yeah, man, we're doing math. Like it's like writing, but we're just doing math, especially on a show like ours we cross-boarded 7 episodes at the same time. We had an amazing gift where Mahershala Ali comes to be my co-star. Awesome, he's a busy dude, wonderful. And we have to figure out how to make this work. And so it's you're really just juggling things that you would never think about when you're kind of walking into it. But it adds to making it like a lot more wild.
We have to break for lunch soon, but I have 2 quick questions for you. One for everyone, but first, Ramy, real quickly. You told us earlier this summer that Lindsay Lohan ghosted you. She was supposed to be on the show. Have you heard from her yet?
No, I talked to her. She was on the call sheet. She was supposed to come through. I think she's a comedic genius. She didn't show up, but she did follow me on Twitter like a week ago. And I'm kind of taking that as like, I'm taking the breadcrumbs wherever I can, where I'm kind of like, all right, well, I got to follow. You know, we could bring that up to her agent, see what happens.
What do you think about that, Dan?
First of all, I have a million questions, but we can offline most of those. When you say she didn't show up, were you guys just like cameras are ready and she wasn't there, or what does that mean, not showing up?
No, it was this kind of thing where I spoke to her about the role. She said, I'm in, I'll be there. I'll be in New York. We put her on the call sheet. A couple of days before, I kind of started to get a bad feeling. I was like, I don't know, I haven't heard from her. And kind of tried to get her and you know, we all know what happened. But no, it was no hard feelings. We weren't really expecting it at a certain point, but she's someone I am very genuinely excited to work with.
Well, hopefully for a season 3. All right, that final question for all of you. Over the course of this 30 minutes or so, I'm wondering, have you gathered some good opposition research? Are you shaping each other up? Or do we have some gentlemen's and ladies' agreements here?
I have a feeling that
I'm out for blood for that Rudolph character. She's double.
And listen, with everyone being such double and triple threats, I think we can all walk away with something if it's played right. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's
and
right.
we all get one because they're all brilliant.
No,
It's
Dan,
certainly
you
a
tell
possibility.
You tell your dad I'm coming for him, Dan. That's what's happening right now. That's
Out
it.
of
I'm
that
going.
race.
Being in this group right here, we're all winners.
That's right.
We are all winners, and ultimately, you know what? This is television's highest honor. To be nominated is just such recognition from your peers and from the Academy, and I feel like such a winner already.
Same.
And to be on this phone call with Wanda and Dan and Maya and Ramy and I'm saying that correctly, right?
Ramy.
Yeah. And Angela, it shows how much love we have for what we do and how much love we have for each other and how symbiotic, even though we all probably have very different processes, how that is so intertwined with this really great, very pure and significant passion that we have and love that we have for what we do. So the honoring to have deuces and triples and Eugene quadruples and Dan, triples. I mean, that is badass. And that just shows and it exemplifies the passion and the commitment we have for what we do. And I just feel like I love all of you. And I want to come play with all of you at some point in time.
Let's go.
So, thank you. I feel like such beautiful, beautiful spirits and beautiful company.
I completely
Same
agree.
here. Agree.
And I feel like with this year, it's just like any good things that come to anyone's way, we have to support. And I think particularly, with everyone on this panel, and there's so many other people out there making incredible television, I really feel like we have to support each other when you're doing something special. That's what gets more special things made. So like truly, I could not be happier for everybody. And I really feel like at this point, maybe particularly this year, like just savor the good things and be happy for people who are being recognized for some hard work.
I love that.
Lots of hard
Absolutely.
work indeed.
Congratulations to everyone.
Yes,
Seriously,
I will
man.
echo that sentiment.
Everyone but your dad. Yeah, dude. It's so dope. It's like beautiful, man. So, like,
Yeah, I'll pass that along.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank everyone, first of all, for watching, but an extra special thanks to all of you. Oh,
Ramy could do the Mom's Mabley sequel. I'm looking at that cap. I just got it.
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
Sorry.
Pitch that next
it's
week.
so true. So true. Yeah.
That's a mom's
yes.
hat. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you, of course, to everyone for watching, and an extra special thanks to all of you for joining us. My guests, Angela Bassett, Dan Levy, Giancarlo Esposito, Maya Rudolph, Ramy Youssef, and Wanda Sykes. Congrats to all of you on your great work.
And
best of luck on Emmys night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, guys. So good to
Congrats,
so good to meet you all.
everybody.
Thank you for
Yes, it's so
having us.
fun.
Love y'all.
Congrats. I love you all. You all do it for me.